Hey y'all, welcome back. This week I'm cooking up some easy stuffed biscuits, crock-pot spaghetti, and more delicious meals you are not going to want to miss. So let's get into the kitchen and let's cook some delicious meals. Alright, this week we are starting out with making some easy sausage stuffed biscuits. These are so easy. So to my bowl here I've got 2 cups of the Southern biscuit mix along with a 1/4 cup of milk powder. I'm going to mix that together, add in some buttermilk, about 1 1/4 cups or so. Then you're just going to mix that up until a dough forms. Once the dough has come together, you're going to dump this out onto a floured surface, dust the top with a little bit of flour, pat it out, fold it over on itself, and you're going to do this about 5 to 6 times. This is just to create layers. On that final time, you're going to pat it out to about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch thick, and then we will be ready to stamp out our biscuits. Now that we've got it all patted out, we are ready to stamp out the biscuits. I am using a 2-inch biscuit cutter, but you can use whatever size or shape biscuit cutter that you like or have on hand. And then just stamp out about 10 to 12 biscuits. Now I'm going to take that biscuit dough and kind of press it out just a little bit to make room for the sausage. And now I went ahead and cooked some sausage earlier. I just made it into about 1-inch little balls, so that way they will fit inside the biscuit. Once you get your biscuit dough patted out, put the sausage into the center and kind of wrap that biscuit dough around it, roll it into a ball, and put it into your cookie sheet or baking dish or whatever you have on hand. Just make sure to spray it really well with some oil. Once you get them all in your pan, you're going to brush the tops with some melted butter. Now I did half stuffed biscuits and half just regular biscuits because my daughter doesn't eat sausage. So I just made regular biscuits for her. So once you get these all buttered up, you're going to put these in a 425-degree oven for about 15 to 20 minutes, just until they are cooked through and golden brown on top. While the biscuits are cooking, we're going to cook up some eggs. I'm making some over easy eggs, but you can do hard fried, you can do scrambled with cheese, you can do an omelet, whatever it is that you prefer, you can go ahead and make that. And then we are going to make some gravy. For the milk gravy, it's super simple. You're going to have some oil left in your pan, about 2 to 3 tablespoons. You're going to sprinkle in about 2 to 3 tablespoons of flour. Whisk that together until it's combined. You're going to let that cook for about a minute. You're going to add in a little bit of milk at a time until it is thick and creamy and the consistency that you want. Then you're going to season it up with some salt and pepper. Make sure that's all well combined, and then this is ready to go. Once it starts to thicken, it's done. Now the biscuits are done and out of the oven. I'm going to brush these with a little bit more melted butter, and then these are good to go and ready for dinner. Alright, here is my plate. I just put some of that gravy in a little bowl so that way I can dunk those biscuits into that gravy. So good. And then I have my eggs here. Super easy and simple dinner or breakfast that will fill your family. This is so good. Alright, moving on to the crock pot spaghetti. I will leave this recipe linked down in the description box below for you guys, as well as all of the other ones. We're going to start out with the meatballs first. To my measuring cup, I have some milk. I'm going to add an egg, mix that together until it's well combined. Then I'm going to add to my ground beef the milk mixture, breadcrumbs, garlic, parsley, Parmesan cheese, salt and pepper, and then I'm going to mix that up until it's well combined. Once that ground beef mixture is thoroughly combined, you're going to grab a little bit of that mixture, roll it into about a 1-inch ball, place it on a plate, and then you're going to continue to do that with the rest of the meatballs. Now I've got my skillet over medium-low heat. I'm going to add a little bit of oil to my pan, and then we're going to sear up these meatballs. They do not have to be cooked completely through. They're going to finish cooking in the crock pot. So you're just going to sear these off on each side about 2 to 3 minutes, just until they get a nice golden brown crust. Once you have a nice golden brown crust on the meatballs, you can remove them to a plate, and then we are ready to add everything to the crock pot. Alright, now we are ready to add everything to the crock pot, but first I'm going to spray mine with a little bit of olive oil spray, but you can certainly add in a crock pot liner. Now I'm going to add in my crushed tomatoes, diced tomatoes, broth, minced garlic, diced onion, some herbs, salt, pepper, and a little bit of sugar, and then I'm just going to mix everything together until it's well combined. Now I'm just going to add the meatballs into the sauce, and I'm going to give that kind of a gentle stir. Then I'm going to pop the lid on this, set it to high, and I'm going to let this cook for about 2 to 2.5 hours just to cook those meatballs through. After 2.5 hours, I'm going to remove the lid, give it another little stir, and then I'm going to add in my pasta. You can break these up if you want to. If you don't want to, that's fine. Just chunk them in there and just push them down into the sauce to make sure they're very well covered in that sauce. Pop the lid back on, and then you're going to cook this for another hour until those noodles are tender. Now here's what it looks like after an hour of cook time. I did go in ever so often and kind of give it a stir just to keep those noodles from sticking to the bottom of the crock pot, and make sure that everything got well combined and cooked evenly. Alright, here is my plate. I just added the spaghetti and meatballs to my plate, topped it with some grated Parmesan cheese. Now you can serve this with some garlic bread on the side. That would be really, really good. But I did not have any today, so I just had the spaghetti and meatballs, and it was absolutely delicious. Alright, you guys, next up is my garlic bread tuna melts. These are so easy and absolutely delicious. You're gonna love them. So to begin, I'm going to add about 1/4 cup of butter to my little bowl here, as well as some minced garlic. Mix that together, and we're gonna set that to the side. For the tuna portion of the tuna melt, you're gonna add 16 ounces of drained tuna to a bowl. If you don't like tuna, you can do chicken. And to that, I'm going to add some mayo, some celery, onion, pickles, tomatoes, cheddar cheese, parsley, mustard, salt, and pepper. And then I'm just going to mix everything together until it is all nice and well combined. And then we're going to set that to the side while we cut up some bread slices. If you have prepared bread, you can just get a couple of those slices out. Now you're going to take the garlic butter that we made earlier, and you're going to spread it on one side of the bread that you have. I just have some homemade bread that I made yesterday. You can use whatever kind that you have on hand. once you get that on there, you're going to flip it over and you're going to load the inside of that bread with as much tuna of mixture that you want. And then you're going to take the other part of the bread and put it buttered side up. Now I just have my skillet here over low heat. I want it to be on low heat so that way the cheese melts on the inside and it gets kind of gooey. So I'm just going to add the tuna melts to the dry skillet, and I'm going to let them cook on each side about 3 to 4 minutes, just until the outside is golden brown and the inside is nice and warm and the cheese is melted. Alright, here's my plate. I just have the tuna melt here, and my daughter wanted to have loaded fries to go with it. So I just cooked up some rally fries in the air fryer, and we topped it with some bacon bits, some cheese, diced tomatoes, and some homemade sour cream. And this was so good. Alright, next up we're making some old-fashioned butterscotch pudding for dessert today. So to start, I've got my pan over low heat. I'm going to add in some butter. I'm going to let that butter melt. I'm going to add in some brown sugar, and then I'm going to whisk that together until it's bubbly and the sugar is melted. Now that the sugar has melted, you're going to add in your cream. You're going to whisk this together until that sugar and cream mixture is all melted and combined together, about 2 to 3 minutes. Now that that is combined, we're going to add in 1 1/4 cup of milk into this mixture. We're going to whisk it around, make sure it's well combined, and then we're going to set this to the side. Now we're going to take the remaining milk, add the cornstarch to that, whisk it together, and pour that mixture into the butterscotch mixture that's in the saucepan. We're going to put this over medium heat, and we're going to whisk this constantly until it is thickened. It should take around 3 to 5 minutes. Now that the pudding has thickened, we're going to transfer that to a bowl. We're going to add some plastic wrap on top. Just make sure that the plastic wrap is touching the pudding itself, so that way it doesn't get that film on the top. Then we're going to let this cool down to room temperature, and we're going to pop this in the refrigerator for about 3 to 4 hours. Now we're going to wrap this up with making some chicken and rice soup. This is a 1-pot soup. It's very easy, very delicious. So we're going to start out with adding a little bit of oil to a pot over medium-low heat. We're going to add in our onions, carrots, and celery, a little bit of salt and pepper, and then we're just going to stir that around, and we're going to let this cook down for about 5 to 8 minutes, just until those vegetables start to get tender. Now we're going to add in some minced garlic, give that a little toss. We're going to cook this for about 30 seconds, just until that garlic is fragrant. Now we're going to add in 2 chicken breasts, 8 cups of chicken broth, salt, pepper, thyme, oregano, garlic powder, and a little bit of onion powder. And then we're going to stir that around, and we're going to let this cook on about medium till it comes up to a boil. You're going to cut that down to a simmer, and you're going to let this cook for about an hour. After an hour, you're going to come in and you're going to remove your chicken. You can put that on a cutting board or on a plate and just set that aside. And then you're going to add in your rice. I'm using white rice today, but wild rice would be really good in this as well. So add that in there, give it a stir, and you're going to let this cook on about medium-low until that rice is tender, about 12 to 15 minutes. In the meantime, you can shred up your chicken. Now that I have shredded the chicken and the rice is tender, I'm going to go ahead and add all of that chicken back into the pot. You don't have to add all of it. You can add half of it and just put the rest of it in the refrigerator or the freezer. It'll keep very nicely in there. And then I'm just going to give that a stir, adjust the seasoning, and then this is ready for dinner. Alright, here is my bowl of this delicious soup. We love chicken and rice soup. I just topped it with a little bit of grated Parmesan, a little bit of parsley. So good. And here is that butterscotch pudding, also very delicious. And that is going to wrap up this week's video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Hit that subscribe button if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.